non-citizens without a legal basis to stay here. Nearly
That is a
doubling the
lie.
rate at which we are removing non-citizens directly from Border Patrol custody here in Tucson and across the southern border.
Alejandro Mayorkas speaking in Tucson.
The safety and security of the American public is indeed our highest priority. We screen and vet individuals when we encounter them.
He added that while Biden's executive action is effective, Congress needs to step up.
I want to reiterate, this is no substitute. The executive actions are no substitute for congressional action. Only Congress can deliver.
We have a constitution!
I have been joining Washington.
A frantic several hours in the nation of Bolivia after armored vehicles rammed the doors of the government palace Wednesday during an attempted coup. With the U.S. State Department watching closely, it was just a few hours later that the Bolivian general who appeared to be behind the rebellion was arrested. The Associated Press is reporting that soon after he was taken into custody, General Zuniga said that it was the Bolivian president who told him to lead forces and storm the palace in a political move. Bolivia's president and justice minister are both denying that claim. The failed assault follows months of unrest in the South American nation, where protests have been growing over economic conditions. Bolivia's government announced it will replace the leaders of their army, navy, and air force as a result of the attempted coup. There was a surprising twist in a multi-million-dollar COVID-19 related fraud case in Minnesota. Details from correspondent Shelley Adler.
The U.S. Attorney's Office and the FBI has announced that 5 people, including a man acquitted at trial, have been charged with trying to bribe a jury member with a bag of $120,000 in cash. The bribe attempt brought renewed attention to the trial of 7 Minnesota defendants accused of coordinating to steal more than $40 million from a federal program that was supposed to feed children during the coronavirus pandemic. It was one of the country's largest COVID-19 related fraud cases, with more than $250 million in federal funds taken overall. Only about $50 million has been recovered. I'm Shelley Adler.
With the 2024 election coming up in just 5 months now, the state of Tennessee is asking thousands of voters to prove their citizenship. Correspondent Lisa Dwyer reports on what led to that decision.
Tennessee's top election office sent letters to more than 14,000 registered voters asking them to prove their citizenship, a move that has alarmed voting rights advocates as possible intimidation. A spokesperson for the Secretary of State's office says that the list was developed after comparing voter rolls with data from the Tennessee Department of Safety and Homeland Security, and that some may not have been U.S. citizens when they obtained a driver's license or ID card, but have since been naturalized and likely did not update their records. The letter contains warnings that illegal voting is a felony and carries penalties of up to 2 years in prison. Democrats have long criticized the Secretary of State's office for its stances on voting issues in the Republican-dominant state, and some are asking for an investigation. I'm Lisa Dwyer.
The Supreme Court rules on a controversial issue about how the Biden administration may have coerced social media providers to moderate their content. Tech correspondent Chuck Palm.
The Supreme Court declined yesterday to impose limits on the way the administration may communicate with social media platforms. The legal issue is whether or not the administration had crossed the line from mere communication to strong-arming or using coercion to censor speech that the administration disagreed with. The states of Missouri, Louisiana, and 5 individuals brought case against the administration, claiming that they had violated their First Amendment rights. Conservative Justice Amy Coney Barrett, who authored the Supreme Court's ruling, wrote that the states and the other plaintiffs lacked the required legal standing to sue the administration in federal court. Barrett went on to say the plaintiffs could not show a concrete link between the administration's conduct and any harm that the plaintiffs may have suffered. The plaintiffs emphasized that hearing unfettered speech on social media is critical to their work, but they do not point to any specific instance of content moderation that caused them identifiable harm. The ruling effectively overturned the free speech issue as to how officials encourage the removal of posts deemed to be misinformation, including those about the election and COVID. I'm Chuck Palm.
America in the Morning continues with Thursday Sports. Here's Robert Workman.
For the second straight year, a Frenchman was taken number 1 overall at the NBA draft.
The Atlanta Hawks select Zachary Rizache,
Commissioner Adam Silver on ESPN. A year ago, the Spurs chose Victor Wembanyama #1, and he became Rookie of the Year. Another 19-year-old forward from France, 7-footer Alex Sarr, went #2 to the Wizards. The first U.S. player chosen was Kentucky guard Reed Shepherd, taken #3 by the Rockets. Two-time College Player of the Year Zach Edey of Purdue went 9th to the Grizzlies. Round 2 of the draft is today. Baseball, the Dodgers dominated the White Sox 4-0. Gavin Stone went the distance on a 4-hitter. Shohei Ohtani hit a leadoff homer for the second straight night, his 25th overall. He's now driven in runs in 10 consecutive games. No other Dodgers ever done that. Mets routed the Yankees 12-2 to sweep the first half of the Subway Series. 12 hits, 7 of them for extra bases. Aaron Judge hit #30 for the other guys. Orioles got by the Guardians 4-2 to snap a 5-game skid, and Cleveland's 7-game win streak. Gunnar Henderson with his 26th big fly. Padres swept out the Nationals 8-5. Dylan Cease allowed just 1 hit over 7 innings. Kyle Higashioka homered twice, including his first career grand slam. He drove in 6. Astros won their 7th straight, 7-1 over the Rockies. Brewers had the brooms out for the Rangers in 10 innings. Royals scored 5 times in the 8th to grill the Marlins. Phillies tamed the Tigers. Brandon Marsh, 4 hits, a homer, and 4 RBI. Braves and Cardinals split a pair. Atlanta won the day game. Jerry Kildick, 3 hits, a homer, and 3 RBI.
I just was trying to get a good pitch to hit and stay inside it, and I got a slider down and in and just kind of dropped the head on it.
St. Louis nabbed the nightcap. Wins for the Angels, Mariners, Twins, Pirates, and Giants. Red Sox and Blue Jays rained out. They'll make it up in August. Soccer, the U.S. men face Panama tonight in group stage play at the Copa America. At Euro 2024, the round of 16 is all set. Georgia shocked Portugal in the largest upset ever in the Euros based on FIFA rankings. Georgia is number 74 in the world. Portugal's number 6. Knockout round play begins this weekend. That's Thursday Sports.
Thank you, sir. Well-known celebrity reveals child abuse in testimony on Capitol Hill. That story, When America in the Morning, continues after these messages.
Saving more time is tough enough for us.
Yes, and navigating markets in challenging times.
I don't understand. That's the other person.
Which means you'll have to stand.
Yes. Our goal is your comfortable retirement. And as a fiduciary, we always put your interests first, because we do better when you do better. At Fisher Investments, we're clearly different. Learn more at FisherInvestments.com.
Investing in securities involves the risk of loss.
Sponsored by Allstate. Some people just know there's a better way to do things, like bundling your home and auto insurance with Allstate. Why make things harder than they need to be? There's a better way to save time and money. Visit allstate.com or call for a quote today.
The thought of my sons growing up without me inspired me to quit smoking.
I talked to my doctors, and then I threw away all my cigarettes, ashtrays, and lighters.
I started exercising instead of smoking.
Staying away from alcohol when I was first quitting was key.
I kept on trying, learned something each time.
Do whatever it takes.
No matter how many times it takes.
We did it, so can you.
For free help, call 1-800-QUIT-NOW. A message from the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services and CDC.
Stay up to date with the news any time of day, anywhere you are, by listening to News Radio 1440 on your Alexa. Just say, Alexa, play News Radio 1440.
32.
Welcome back here with America in the Morning. It's 5 till. His death may have been ruled accidental, but reports out of Hollywood say there could be charges filed in the passing of actor Matthew Perry. Kevin Carr has details.
The investigation into the death of Matthew Perry is wrapping up, and People reports a source close to the investigation has said multiple individuals should be charged. Perry died last October after being found unresponsive in his hot tub. While his death was ruled to be accidental, an autopsy determined the cause to be from the acute effects of ketamine, with drowning, coronary artery disease, and the effects of opioid treatment as contributing factors. Ketamine is a common recreational drug, but has many legitimate medical uses, including depression treatment. Perry had spent decades in and out of rehabilitation programs for drug use, and in his memoir, Friends, Lovers, and the Big Terrible Thing, he described using ketamine.
Taking K is like being hit in the head with a giant happy shovel. But the hangover was rough and outweighed the shovel. Ketamine was not for me.
According to Friends, Perry had a ketamine infusion a week and a half before he died. Since the drug is metabolized in a matter of hours, the amount in his system at the time of his death came from somewhere else. According to People, the LAPD has been working with the DEA and the U.S. Postal Service to determine where that ketamine came from. The decision whether to press charges will be up to the U.S. Attorney's Office. Since his death in 2023, the Matthew Perry Foundation was created to help people with addiction.
This disease, addiction, the big terrible thing, is far too powerful for anyone to defeat alone.
I'm Kevin Carr.
A well-known socialite and social media personality went to Congress to speak on behalf of abused children. Correspondent Katie Clark reports on Paris Hilton's visit to Capitol Hill.
Paris Hilton spoke to Congress on Wednesday and gave a heartfelt speech about her personal experience living in youth facilities as a teenager, away from her family. She discussed the abuse she received while living at a facility, saying that her parents were unaware of anything that went on, were lied to and deceived by those in charge. She discussed her own experience of sexual and physical abuse, and even force-fed medications.
The treatment these kids have had to endure is criminal. These kids deserve to grow up in safe, family-centered environments. I will not stop until America's youth is safe. I've helped pass 9 state laws on this issue. I am strongly advocating for the federal bipartisan Stop Institutional Child Abuse Act.
Paris Hilton is advocating protections for children in facilities, including foster children, under the Stop Institutional Child Abuse Act. She addressed kids directly.
If you are a child in the system, hear my words. I see you. I believe you. I know what you're going through, and I won't give up on you. You are important. Your future is important, and you deserve every opportunity to be safe and supported.
I'm Katie Clark.
That's our show for today, Thursday, June 27th, 2024. America in the Morning is produced by Jeff McKay. Our senior producer, Kevin Delaney. I'm John Trout. This is Westwood One.
Hey everyone, let's all stop what we're doing and take a moment. See? Every moment can be kind of special. But they can be loud moments, goofy moments, dorky moments, it doesn't matter. Because every time dads like us take a moment like that to spend with our kids, well, it's pretty momentous. So let's take a moment to make a moment. Call 877-4DAD-411 or visit fatherhood.gov. Brought to you by the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services and the Ad Council.
Russell Wilson here with Play 60, United Way in the NFL, helping kids play at least 60 minutes a day. To get involved, go to unitedway.org/play60. Are you guys going to do that every time? Yes, of course. Brought to you by United Way and the Ad Council.
With just a couple of clicks on Amazon, your items come to your door in a day or two. With just a simple phrase to your Alexa smart speaker, your favorite talk shows come to your speaker in seconds. Alexa, play News Radio 1440. News Radio 1440 is WLWI AM and 95.1 HD3 FM of Montgomery, a Cumulus media station.
This is the CBS News World News Roundup, sponsored by Auto Parts.
I'm Vicki Barker. Tonight's presidential debate will be historic, the first ever between a sitting president and his predecessor. But will it shed more heat than light? CBS's Jared Hill reports.
The unforgettable chaos of the 2020 presidential debates. It would moderators hope to avoid tonight when President Biden and former President Trump
the study has been good for me.
For the first
Well,
time in 4 years.
you have
Each candidate's microphone
you
will
have
be muted
related
when
it.
his turn to speak,
Well, the
and there will
verbiage.
be no studio audience.
in your version, and I found out which version of the Bible you were using. That's when I used it on my
Is
iPad.
being sanctioned by U.S.
It
investigators for
has
sharing information about the 737 MAX 9
it has
door
imprinted upon my senses
Boeing, quote,
what was going on
violated
in a clear and concise way that I didn't have to go through all this trying to figure it out.
The Supreme Court's in session today.
The bottom line is
issue a
that,
formal ruling on
and I think
abortion ban one day after
was that
an early
Mordecai
version was
who
listed
told
in the
her
release. CBS's Jan Crawford has
In the
more.
draft opinion posted
you
Wednesday, 5 justices,
telling her,
a coalition
all
of
these
conservatives and
blessings you
liberals,
received
said the
to be
Supreme
where
Court
you
should
are right
wait
now,
for more lower
it may
courts
have
to
been
weigh
for such a
in.
time as this.
Three conservatives said the
And
Idaho ban should stand, and the
you
court's
can't
newest
even-
Justice, Tangi
you
Brown
can't even
Jackson, argued that the court
bypass
should
that.
validate the Idaho
Even if
law
you
now.
wanted to,
Officials in
look at
Idaho
all the
County,
things going on
Minnesota,
around
they're
you,
concerned about the integrity
know,
of a
but you know,
flood-damaged
so who was
bridge near
Haman?
Rapidan Dam.
Haman
CBS's
was
Tom
an
Hansen
Agagite,
is there,
and this is the
everyone
interesting
is talking
history.
down a shaky line.
All the way back hundreds of years earlier, when Israel was coming out of Egypt, right? God rescued them out of slavery in Egypt. The Amalekites were the very first people who attacked Israel, attacked and tried to slaughter Israel. And so the Israelites fought back, and the Lord said at that time, I'm going to take these people off the face of the earth eventually. That these people are cursed for what they've
Russia is
done.
apparently attempting to further
Fast
disrupt
forward a couple
Western
hundred
military
years,
assistance
you have
to Ukraine.
Israel in the
CBS's
land.
Tony McCormick
They
has
finally
Russian
picked their
Defense
first
Ministry
king.
says
King
Russia
Saul
has
was the
carried
very
out
first
missile
king of Israel.
strikes on Ukrainian
One of the things
airfields,
God told
and
Saul was,
Moscow
listen,
believes the
you see the
airfields were to be
Amalekites over
used
here?
for Western military
You need to
aircraft.
go over and slaughter
Moscow says
every
all
one
of
of
the
them.
targets
This is
were
one of the
hit.
hard parts
The
of the Bible
attacks
where
come as
God says
Ukraine's
you kill
president
every man,
signs a
woman,
security
child,
pact
livestock,
with the
everything.
European Union.
And it's because they were such a pagan people. They would sacrifice their children to false gods. They would burn them alive to the god.
Well, they must better to tell them we'll kill
More
the
than
kids.
400,000 healthy U.S. adults over 20 years found no difference
Biblical
in
theology is
mortality
too.
or
All
risk
babies
of
go to
death
heaven.
for those who
We can
took
have that conversation
multivitamins
another time too.
versus those who did not.
But
Ahead of the opening bell on
and
Wall
so
Street, the Dow
Saul
is up
went,
13.
but he was
This is CBS
disobedient,
News.
and he let the
Think
king
O'Reilly Auto Parts
live
for all
and
your car
livestock.
care needs. Get the
Well,
parts and
Samuel the
service
prophet
you
shows
need
up and
fast
says,
from the
you haven't done
professional
what the Lord
parts
told you to
people
do.
at
The
O'Reilly
kingdom
Auto
is going to be
Parts.
taken away from you. And Samuel the prophet ended up slaying King Agag. So when it says that Haman was an Agagite, that means he was one of the surviving sons of King Agag, because Israel was only able to kill the Amalekites that were in their land. There were Amalekites outside Israel's borders at that time. So fast forward a couple hundred more years now, in captivity, Haman is the descendant of that King Agag that Israel wiped out his people, wiped out killed his dad, killed his, well not dad, but killed his great-great-great-grandfather.
Your gas light's on. We need to fill
And
out.
that's why he has a blood feud rage against the Israelites and wants to have them all slaughtered.
For every gallon of gas you buy. I've already made around.
But anyway, I never really paid much attention to any of
I'm stopping now to download Upside and fill up my tank. Download the free Upside app for
Revelation
real cash back every time you buy gas.
I think Revelation scares everybody.
PayPal or e-gift card. Download the free Upside app now and use promo code EARN for an extra 25 cents per gallon cash back on your first fill up. That's promo code EARN.
The home of a film legend is getting landmark status.
Diamonds are a girl's best friend.
She was the ultimate Hollywood blonde bombshell and one of the most enduring of all screen legends. The home she died in 1962 is a 1920s Spanish hacienda-style residence in the Brentwood section of Los Angeles. The people who own it had a permit to demolish it, but that was revoked, and the city council just voted to give it the historic cultural monument status. What would Monroe think of that? Just months before her death, she wouldn't allow Life magazine to take pictures there, saying, "I don't want everybody to see exactly where I live," adding, "I want to just stay in the fantasy of every man." Michael Toscano, CBS News.
Tiffany's. And finally, to another fictional icon, the original watercolor illustration for the cover of the first Harry Potter book has sold at auction for $1.9 million, becoming the most valuable Harry Potter item ever sold. I'm Vicki Barker, CBS News.
Paid for by Christian Care Ministry.
You know, a lot of times you have to choose between something high quality or something that saves you money. But if you could get both, why not? Especially when it comes to health care. And that is MediShare. You get both. Many families save $500 a month with MediShare, and that's huge. But it's also true that people wind up way more satisfied, too.
How's Zarell doing?
Oh, doing good. He's
Enjoying the summer?
Yeah, he's out. Well, he's at Alabama State for 6 weeks on the
But as for more than
It's
30
a college introductory kind of environmental living kind of thing he does every summer. And it's 6 weeks out there, you know, so they still sort of get taking classes.
Being happy with how
It is helping.
Good for
Because
him.
he don't talk to nobody, but now I figured he'd be 18 come
Here's the number.
October, right after the hormones will kick in, he'll begin to open up a little bit.
That's the weird thing about this younger generation, Kevin, is, I mean, your generation, my generation was right close to yours. You know, it's like,
Well, you wasn't that close.
I'm 52, man.
Okay, I'm 67.
15 years behind you.
Yeah.
Yeah, this generation, you just don't see them pursuing relationships like that.
That may be a good thing.
Yeah, I get that.
Because I ain't pushing them too much on because I don't just want to be made grandpa Elkins.
No, you don't want that. But yeah, at the same time, it's just there's a lot of young people in extended adolescence, though.
Too many, and that a long extension. Yeah,
right. And it's them not moving into relationship and marriage. I get it. I don't want them having sex out of wedlock and having babies out of wedlock and all the problems come with that either.
But there still has to be a process by which that lends itself to that eventual end.
When you're still 25 and playing video games in your mama's basement.
And I'm blaming mama for that one.
Not working a full-time job.
Yeah, you need to go to work.
Yeah, you know, it's that. And every child's different. You know, I've got children who've done great with that. I've got a 19-year-old right now. He's kind of wrestling with that. I'm trying to have
Hunger has a way of getting your attention.
Well, that's what the Bible says, right?
Yeah.
If a man doesn't work, neither let him eat.
It has a way of getting your attention. So I wouldn't worry about that too long. I'm not gonna. I decided since you're here at 7, I don't need our daily bread. You give it to us today. I haven't heard from Mr. Ed during the week. I'm wondering now. I knew that if it ever comes to the, I was so used to him calling and dogging me. I knew that if he ever was a time that he didn't call, I'd be wondering. And that time
and it's come.
Yeah.
Wow. But I do think a little bit more humidity today will keep temperatures away from triple digit territory. We did it twice this week. It's more like low.
Yeah. What's a little the short old man's old man? Well, he 90, so he over 90. The sets outside in the forest.
It's George Kelly.
Okay.
Yeah. Today we have Bubba Nolan's funeral.
Yeah, I heard you say
about
that the other day.
On Sunday. We have 2 other charter members who are still alive, but they're not members of the church. He was the last charter member who was still a member of the church. So he was there at 15 years old and signed the church charter when Morning View was founded in 1949.
So why are the other things still there?
His sister got married and moved away. She lives in Georgia. And the other lady, she had moved to another church many years before I even got there. And, he was a sweet, godly man. Good friend, hard to lose him. That's a hard thing about being pastors. Stay there long enough, sooner or later you're gonna start burying your friends.
Kind of like living.
Yeah.
I mean, I think about that all the time. Because the older you get, you say, well, my name's gonna be in the paper. You know? But I have no complaints about life. Everything as bad as happened to me, so-called bad. I was not participating in it, so I can't blame God for that one.
Does Bud Epps call him very often anymore? Bud Epps?
Yeah. Did you see the one where the guy on TV knocked the crap out of his kid for fighting and stuff in Acadome? It was on TV. I loved it.
I didn't see that.
Oh, I loved it. That's what more daddies ought to do. Knock the crap out of him in public. Now, I thought the boys were going to hit him back. Then I knew it was going to be on then. Yeah, I knew it was going to be on then. And he was a lot shorter than his kid. But I told him, Zarel, I said, you know, there's such thing as daddy power. So there is that. You think you're taller than me, that's fine. but I will not quit till you are covered.
Understand and tailor financial solutions that fit.
And even if I got a week,
from buying a car to saving for college and even starting a small business,
I'm coming to get you.
Come experience the Guardian difference and let's achieve your
There was a movie that came out, gosh, 15, 20 years ago. I don't even remember what the name of the movie was, but I remember the line.
You know, a lot of times you have to choose.
I think it was a father,
high quality or something that saves you money. But if you could get
Son,
both,
I'm gonna beat you till I'm tired, and I just woke up.
$500 a month with Medishare, and that's huge. But it's also true that people wind up way more satisfied too. The member satisfaction rate
Of
for
course, you get in
Medishare
trouble in our
is
culture when you say
double
that.
that of the typical
Not
health
me.
insurance plan.
I see it.
Double.
I see it.
That's because Medishare works. It asks for more than.
You're not going to tell me I serve this nation for free speech, and you tell me I can't use mine? Oh no, we're gonna have a war right up here.
They love the huge PPO network, so
I try not to be irresponsible with it, but I'm gonna say what's on my mind. Now the nice thing about it, I know how to say it without saying it. But everybody know what I'm saying.
Just call 855-51-BIBLE. That's 855-51-BIBLE.
There is something to discretion, depending on the environment you have to be in. But I don't care about the political correct crap. There ain't no such thing as transgender. Never has been, never will be. Now, if you tell me you think what you think you are, I'm good. You think whatever you want to think. It's a mental disease. But when you tell me that scientifically, biologically, yeah, right. Now we ain't going there.
Did you see that out in Montana, they passed a law defining what male and female is?
Oh, good. About time.
Male is this chromosome, female is this chromosome, male does this, female does this. And a federal judge came along and said, struck it down, said, you're not allowed to define it this way.
Who is allowed to define it?
Exactly.
I mean, the good book says he made male and female. That is a craziness in our country right now. When I got a Supreme Court justice who can't tell, a woman who can't tell Congress what a woman is. All she has to say was me. Take that for all it's worth. I'm a woman. And I would be mad at other women, but some guy calling himself a woman, he ain't never went to a period.
But you think of all the backlash that J.K. Rowling has got. Like, she's liberal here, right?
Yeah.
She supports trans people and LGBTQ and all that. But she says we shouldn't be calling men women and letting them in women's spaces.
Not.
And she has been vilified just for saying that.
I think people take too much, are giving Twitter and all these places too much power. I don't give a crap what they write about me on Facebook or Twitter. I don't give a crap. I don't care. As a matter of fact, I'm glad you can write. At least that means you can communicate.
Smart, witty, and fast on the draw. It's Mark Levin this afternoon at 5 p.m.
I'll suck it up and drive on.
Radio 1440.
Don't read that mess.
All righty. Good morning, and good morning again. 7:14 in the morning. No daily bread today because I got the guy who's going to bring us the daily bread, and that's Pastor Sean Meriton. Now, you got, if you don't listen to me too often, you ought to, because I got the only common sense in town. Okay, well, most of the time, not the only common sense, but I don't mind using mine. Anyway, so Pastor Sean Meriton, who's the head pastor over at the Morning View Baptist Church, which is on Calhoun.
Yes, sir.
Road, which is right across from, which is not that far from Morning View School.
Right across the street from.
So if you're in the Air Force, you're looking for a good Baptist church to go to, you want to hear the old traditional music. Yes, that's where you want to go.
Oh, come on. It's a blended service, Kevin. We do some new stuff and love to do the best of the old stuff. And
okay, well,
it's all about Christ, not us.
Okay, the next Sunday I'm coming down, I'm going to grab the microphone. Okay. We'll see. We see what everybody, I would say, I like to hear a really great rendition of Amazing Grace. Not the one to put you to sleep, but the one that make you kind of like humble and
sounds amazing.
Right. The reflecting times like that. Anyway, we'll get to that another time. But I will say one thing about Morning View Choir. I tell you what, they are good. I'm crazy about the music, but I am crazy about the way they perform. You know, I just don't. I'm a rebel. You know?
Well, and yeah,
I got
and they're
so,
great
yeah.
folks up there. They just have a heart, and you know, we're not there to entertain. We're there just to worship. But they give their hearts to it, and that's what I
Yeah.
appreciate so much. About
What sort of you there to entertain them a little bit, aren't you? No.
Remember, and when you talk about a church service, Kevin, the audience is one. It is the Lord. You know, we're there to honor Him.
Okay, I got you. But he did give us the ability to sing, and
Absolutely.
I'm just saying.
And we're to use all that for His glory. That's a great thing.
Yeah. Okay. Now, one thing I want to talk about today is the Bible as a historic accounting of biblical time. Although I often say that we are still in biblical times, but for that era, the Bible gives us. Would you consider the Bible totally 100% accurate?
Yes, and we have to understand the Bible for what it is, right? The Bible is not an algebra book, right? So it's not going to teach us algebra. The Bible is not a science textbook. While anything that has to do with, you know, science things, there are things that relate to science that are part of science, but it's not a science textbook. It is a history of redemption. We want to think of the Bible rightly for what it is and why God has given it to us. And so as a history of redemption, it is covering human history. It does begin with the beginning, with creation, with God creating the heavens and the earth and everything that follows, with God creating the first man, the first woman. But it is concerned with who God is, who we are as His image bearers, what is wrong in the relationship between man and God, which is sin, happened in the garden, Genesis chapter 3, and how God now works through human history to accomplish our redemption out of that sin and back into His presence. And it's interesting, if you think of the Bible as a whole, we begin in the garden in Genesis 1 and 2, and we end in a garden-like atmosphere in heaven in God's presence in the end of the book of Revelation. And so the Bible is a history of redemption. Does it give us, you know, all the history of the world? No, that's not its objective. It gives us the history God wants to give us, needs to give us, to understand His purpose of redemption in drawing men and women, boys and girls to Himself out of sin and into salvation, of how He saved us through Jesus Christ. And so if we understand the Bible rightly, we want to see it for what it is. We don't want to, you know, change it, twist it, say that it speaks to something that it was just not made to speak to. But at the same time, it speaks to the most important thing, and that is God's person, His character, His purpose of redemption, and our status as image bearers who are in sin, who need redemption. That's what the Bible's about.
And that is a somewhat subjective opinion, because we don't have actual proof that all the words in the Bible were exactly as God dictated them. Okay, we have Matthew, Mark, Luke, John. We have 4 depictions of basically the same story.
Yes.
Well, my thing, okay, so that means then that everything in the Bible is still subjected to who wrote it.
Well, and again, Second Timothy 3:16, all Scripture, even though it's through different authors over all different period of times, all Scripture is God breathed. That's where we get the word inspired from.
I'm so glad you have a PhD in it, because I know you know way more than I do. So I don't feel intimidated to ask you some of these questions. I know you have the answer. How do you prove that? How do you prove that what's in the Bible, all the words are God inspired? How do you prove that?
Well, and one of the things we understand when we talk about faith, when we talk about Christianity, so many people say, well, it's a leap of faith. No, it is a call to faith, but it is faith based upon reason and evidence. But at the end of the day, you don't reason anyone to the kingdom of God. You could give the best argument for the existence of God, but all those arguments ultimately fall short. You can't finally and fully prove them, the way, going back to the idea of a math problem. There is this required element of belief and of faith, right? You back up when we talk about
but even faith has to have some elements of reality.
Right. Yes, it's based on reason, truth,
exactly,
objective history, and again, so much of the Bible is a historical record, and that historical record has even been verified over and over again by archaeologists, right? As far as peoples and societies and existence of things.
But even archaeology is based on man's limited knowledge and limited ability to discern where these things came from.
Right.
Okay.
So we're back to the question. Then you're getting into epistemology here, Kevin, which is then how do we know anything?
But there's something. Truth is the only thing we can actually know because it is what it is.
Correct.
The question is what you're telling me the truth?
Correct.
Or is it an opinion based on your particular belief?
Right. And so how do you know it's truth or not?
Because truth crushed to the ground will rise again.
Okay, so let's get a little more specific.
That was good one.
It was good. But truth is that which corresponds to reality.
Okay. True.
Okay?
True.
And so it's not just a feeling. I want the sky to be orange. No, the sky is blue. Okay. And so truth is that which corresponds to reality. Again, how do we know what truth is? Jesus even
I do believe that inside of us we have a truth detector.
Now you just got subjective, Kevin, because you're bringing it now down to saying, well, each person gets to decide what's true in their own heart, which is not a good thing.
No, you can't decide what is true. Truth decides for itself if it's true. But I believe that we can discern and detect if you're giving us a load of manure.
So as a pastor and as a theologian, I would say what you're speaking of is the human conscience. Part of we are made in the image of God.
Right.
And because we are made in the image of God, we have a conscience that is drawn to this concept of truth. Now, Romans 1, in our sinfulness, we try to suppress that. We suppress the truth because there's some truths we don't like the fact that God made us and he is going to judge us. That is a truth that the human spirit in our sinfulness doesn't want to believe. We want to suppress that. And that results in us doing further and greater, more sinful actions. Again, that's all what Paul talks about in Romans chapter 1. But when it comes down to it, again, truth is that which corresponds to reality. What the Bible presents us with is a person of God, a triune God, who's creator of all things, who is ruler of all things, who is at work in human history. When we step back and we weigh those truth claims, those are all truth claims made by the Bible.
Right.
When we step back and weigh those truth claims, when you compare those truth claims, and this is me again, right? There would be others, there would be atheists who would sit at the other microphone and they would argue against me. When we take those truth claims and weigh them against reality, which truth claims that are out there, the atheistic truth claims, the Christian truth claims, whatever they be, which one most corresponds to reality? Reality as we see it played out, as we understand it, all those different things. I am a Christian because the Christian worldview, the Bible, what that gives us in terms of an understanding of God, this world, our own selves, all of that corresponds, as I see it, to reality.
So would you agree with the statement, although God gives words to us and directions to us, it is still up to man to make sure that the message that he gave them, that they give to us. And we all know that the interpretations, the translations, the transliterations of Bible, even if you got archaeological records and all that stuff, it's still subject to man's understanding.
Well, and again, yeah, all of our understanding is tainted by sin. All of us are wrestling with those truths and what they are, discerning them rightly, how to live them out, all those different things. So if that's what you're saying, then yes. But here's the interesting thing. When you talk about, there being so many different languages and so many different interpretations and so many things over time, the amazing thing is if you look at actual history, it's been very clear. There's been a very consistent understanding, interpretation of what the Bible has said and set before us. Now, granted, Jewish people reject the revelation of the New Testament, the idea that Jesus is the Messiah, but overall, their understanding of God and many other dynamics of how God has revealed himself in history, many Christians would agree with, not all, certainly not all, but many of their understandings and interpretations of God's person and will as revealed in the Old Testament. Even when we talk about, there being so many different denominations, Protestant denominations,
Baptists.
Well, yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Why are there Baptists, Presbyterians, Methodists, Nazarenes, Pentecostals, all these different groups? At the end of the day, so much of that goes back to really just differences in church government and our understanding of the ordinances, baptism and the Lord's Supper, and perhaps some interpretive frameworks of the Bible, especially when you get into more charismatic or those kind of things, the continuation of the gifts. But at the end of the day, all those different Protestant groups, if they're conservative and they believe the Bible,
basic foundation.
Well, they share a 90% common foundation of God, Jesus, His Word. The Bible is the authority that Jesus died on the cross for sins, rose from the grave, that we need to believe in Him to be saved. There's so many things. What we have in common is far, far greater than what we have in terms of differences. Again, if we're conservative and holding the Bible. You get into liberalism and they begin denying core truths and denying scripture, then you're talking about a different animal.
Mm-hmm. The reason this came up today, because you taught the other day in church, and I really never knew this. I never tried to know it actually, but since you did bring it up, the Jewish people, according to the book of Esther, they were in Persia.
Yes.
Okay. So how did they get to Jerusalem? Okay, 100 years later, why are we fighting about a piece of land over there, which I'm with the Jews. I'm pro-Israel, so I don't really care who cares about that anyway. But are they in the land that they initially were?
Oh, well, right now, yes. And so this is a complex history. It actually goes back to Genesis. You have Abraham, who's chosen by God to be the father of the Israelite people. Mm-hmm. He was a Gentile that God made the first Jew, if you want to think about it that way.
All right.
And if you remember, Abraham and Sarah were really old and didn't have any kids. And God said, I'm going to bless you and you're going to have a child. And that child later turned out to be Isaac. But if you remember, Abraham and Sarah tried to take things into their own hands for a little while. And Sarah gave her servant Hagar to Abraham, and they had Ishmael. And God said all the way back in Genesis that Ishmael and Isaac were going to be at odds with each other through remaining generations. And so Ishmael is, even in Islamic religion, they see Ishmael as the progenitor of the Arabic Muslim ethnicity as it goes down through time. So you fast forward, and of course, Israel eventually, after the Exodus, after wandering in the wilderness for 40 years, they are taken into the promised land, and they live there. But God tells them, if you don't follow me, if you give yourself over to idolatry, to what the surrounding nations believe, I'm going to have to discipline you. I'm going to have to punish you. You are going to be taken out of the land of promise. And sure enough, Israel had a long succession of very evil kings. First of all, after Solomon, the kingdom split. The northern tribes gave themselves over to idolatry much faster, and so they were conquered first and carried into captivity by the Assyrian Empire in history. Then a couple generations later, Judah and the tribe of Benjamin still existed in the land. They were what was left of Israel because they had more godly kings in their succession, but they eventually had a lot of evil kings as well. And then the Assyrian Empire was really conquered and overcame and became the Babylonian Empire. And so King Nebuchadnezzar of the Babylonian Empire came and conquered the rest of Israel, carried them into captivity. And that's where we have like the books of Daniel, Daniel was one of those taken into captivity in the Babylonian Empire. Again, fast forward a couple decades, and the Babylonian Empire is kind of conquered by the Medes and the Persians. And so by the time we have the book of Esther, about 100 some years later, Persia is now the reigning global empire, from Turkey down to northern Africa over to India. I mean, they are a massive empire. And the Jews, there are many Jews that have returned to the promised land. King Cyrus fulfilled a prophecy by allowing the Jews to return to the promised land. But there were many, like Esther and Mordecai, who ended up staying in the Persian Empire, not returning to Israel. Now, so we have the people, though, the majority of Jewish people are back in the promised land, and there they remain until we have the coming of Christ about 400 years later. We have the coming of Jesus. And again, remember, even when Jesus came, Israel was a conquered nation under the rule of Rome. Rome was the global power at that time. And so Rome was over Israel. So Israel has spent the majority of its latter history as a conquered people. Again, under the Roman Empire, Israelites and especially Christians were scattered all over the world. Fast forward, it was after World War II that, as part of the peace process, they reestablished the nation of Israel. But the majority of that Israeli territory had been conquered by Muslims during the Crusades. So it was a very controversial thing for the United Nations. Well, it wasn't, that was still in formation. It was a very controversial thing for them to reestablish Israel as a state following World War II. The Muslims were very unhappy about that because the Temple Mount in Jerusalem is the third most holiest Muslim site. Muslims did not want Jews to have their statehood back. And so ever since the late 1940s, there's been this incredible tension between Palestinians and those who lived in that region and a whole rest of the Muslim world. It is truly seen it is viewed as a religious war that is going on there. And it's all about the Muslims feel like we took this territory. This territory not only belongs to us, it belongs to Allah. Now you have this Jewish state imposed back upon us. That Jewish state has flourished, and so they're at war really over that part of the earth, if you will, that land. They're at odds with one another. Israel staking a claim that they say goes back thousands of years, and Muslims, Palestinians particularly, saying no, this land has been ours for the last 1,000 years, or not quite 1,000 years, going back to the Crusades.
Wow. This is like a college course. That's interesting. Okay. Do you believe that the Bible should be used in schools, whether they're public or private, as a teaching instrument?
I believe the Bible is valuable for all of life. Mm-hmm. I am not in favor of forcing religion on someone's conscience.
For its historical perspective.
I believe there's a lot of history offered there. And again, I went to a secular university, mm-hmm. and I took a world history course, and there were some times when we made reference to things that were recounted in the Bible as showing that this was actually historically true. I mean, they're not addressing the idea of God, they're not addressing miracles, God's purposes. But I remember even in that secular course, the Bible being referenced because it spoke of what was actual world history or parts of world history that it spoke to. And so, again, this is a unique thing about Baptist. The origin of Baptist was, we believe as Baptists, in the freedom of the conscience. Baptist came out of England at a time when, if you were born in England, you were automatically made part of the Church of England, just period, just by virtue of birth. And Baptist, at our origin, basically said no human conscience should be coerced. In other words, I can't tell you what religion you are. I can't make you a certain religion. That should be up to you to decide. And so that's actually a cornerstone of Baptist belief. We believe in the freedom of the conscience, and that there should be no coercion as to what you believe. And so I say all that to say, I believe the Bible is valuable. I believe morally, historically, and spiritually, it is the most important thing that exists in terms of human writing, because it is God's word. And therefore, I believe it's very valuable in an educational setting. I'm not in favor of coercion and forcing people to believe certain things.
But you just brought up a phrase though, which is I want to get back to that. Human writing. When humans get involved in anything, for the most part, there's error. Okay.
Correct.
So why is it that we as Christians, those who call themselves Christians, would believe so fervently in something that was written by people who have shown that rarely do we get it all right? But we put our hopes, our dreams, our futures, our past on what the Bible tells us to do. The reason why I'm all right with the Bible is because there's nothing in there. There are no instructions in there that tell us what to do that harm us. There's just nothing in there that all the instruction that we do have is pretty much okay. I mean, how you treat one another, how you treat each other, and things of that nature. But can we be sure? And you brought the word of human writers.
Well, and so let me give you an illustration to help understand that, Kevin. I have a pencil. Now, there's never been a pencil made in any factory that's been absolutely perfect, correct?
True.
At some point, there's going to be some flaw, even if it's at a microscopic level, there's going to be some flaw. And yet, I can use that flawed pencil to write my exact thoughts and words out. The flaws of that pencil do not supersede my ability to write what I actually want to write, right?
However, what you write from your interpretation is, I'm cool with that. But how do we know the giver of the knowledge meant what you're writing?
Well, and this is back to this is theologically, we call this the doctrine of inspiration. It's back to 2 Timothy 3:16, and this idea that all scripture is God breathed. In other words, to be
I don't know who said that. I don't know who came up with that.
That's in the Bible. That's what the Bible says. All scripture is God breathed.
But that is coming from the guy who's writing it.
Correct.
So how do we know that that's true?
That guy is an instrument in God's hand.
We hope he is.
Well, we believe he is.
Okay.
We believe he is, based on the testimony of Scripture itself, that God is a perfect God. And this God is capable, and indeed has told us, that he has accurately communicated his person and his will and his history to us. And there is a belief element there, right?
Right.
But even though the human instrument is a flawed instrument, a perfect God used that instrument to reveal his perfect will.
Let me take a call right quick. Good morning on there. Good morning.
Good morning, sir. Well, and I would ask you this question. Do you think that there are some ideas that are inherently dangerous to teach young people? Okay. And so we are always going to be making moral judgments about what we teach the children in our society. The problem is we disagree on what's what. And so from a standpoint of the Ten Commandments, again, as I said to Kevin a few minutes ago, I'm not in favor of coercing the conscience of anybody. And there are those who claim that having the Ten Commandments posted publicly is a federal endorsement of the Christian faith or the Jewish faith, or the origin of those Ten Commandments. I look at those are statements of God's moral. Good for us to learn from those things and consider those things, but I would not want anyone to feel like they are forced to believe in God as a result of those things. I would hope they take the moral principles. Ultimately, my desire, my prayer for them would be that they would allow those moral principles to believe in God, and that God would work. But I don't want anyone to be forced. Yes, and that's where a lot of Right. And there are other governments and other state governments that they've tried to put a commandments alongside other moral codes from other religions and other systems to try to make it, more appealing. Here's what I would say. At the end of the day, we are, whether we like it or not, we are teaching a certain morality in our society every time we educate our children. And the question is, what is that morality? So many people get hung up on where it comes from. I get that. We agree. But what is it that we're teaching? We're going to teach them if we know it's going to happen. Where is it coming from, and what is it actually doing? Again, we can get into concerns about critical theory and all those kind of things. I like that idea that at a college level, teaching all different ideas, and then teaching a college students how to discern, what you think from the system. But yeah, there's a long discussion. Right, and right.
Yeah. And we got to take a break. Okay. We'll come back. Our guest is one of the. This has been a a lot of things. We still have to. We'll be back.
See if I could chase that.
Sponsored by Public
We're always making moral judgments about what we do.
And we do. Even critical race theory is a collection of thoughts and opinions by people.
And it's just a question of what morally, how morally, and if you have a society that says we're not going to be defined by Christianity, we're not going to be defined by Judaism, we're not going to be defined by Buddhism, but we're still making moral judgments.
Well, we're going to be defined by something.
That's right. And so we're still making moral judgments. So how do we look at what the morality is of these different things? So I have this over here that says, don't lie, don't steal, don't covet, don't murder. I get that it begins with there's a God who delivered and only worship him and don't have graven images. That's the part people get hung up. But the ethos of that is still good morally, just making moral judgment. And then I have critical race theory that brings us back to a place that says, no, you judge people by their appearance. If someone's skin is white, they are automatically guilty, whether they want to acknowledge it or not, of racism.
And when we become that which we hate, we're no better than what they were.
See, critical race theory says there's only two types of people in the world. There's oppressors and there's oppressors.
Yeah, right, exactly.
And ultimately, what they won't acknowledge is that their system, in seeking to empower the oppressed, what are you empowering them to? The only option in your system is for them to move from being the oppressed to be the oppressor. If that's
and it does not give leeway that maybe you once were an oppressor. Look at the Bible, full of things where people started out bad that turned out, had it not been for them, we wouldn't be where we are today in a good place. So we don't,
So we're making a moral judgment.
No matter what we do, we're making a moral judgment.
Right. And I don't think there's a hypocrisy when you consider the actual content. This says, do not murder, do not lie, do not steal, respect human life. And it says, honor God. Yeah, it's there. But this over here says, there's oppressed and there's oppressor. We must rise up to become the oppressor and no longer the oppressed.
Yeah, sure. And I'm with you. College level, I'll say even 12th grade. Let's have that conversation. If you're not mature enough now to understand that in the 12th grade, then maybe you ought not get a diploma yet. But college level, certainly, the mind should be mature enough to dissect the information that you're getting.
Well, and in college, we should be showing them everything.
Yeah, everything.
And teaching them how to think.
Right.
We shouldn't be indoctrinating them with one thing and militarizing them based on one ideology.
This has been such a great conversation. I'm going to podcast this so people can hear you.
But rather believe that everyone should benefit from access
to
a network
My
full of more
podcast get a lot.
ideas, diverse
It's a good
opinions,
thing.
and dialogue. Join
And
Rumble,
I'm
where
happy to
people
come
are
back and have
freedom
that.
to be
We had it
entertained
once
by
on air,
exclusive content
talking about
from
critical race
creators
theory and
who
all that. We had it
Oh,
a
that's
couple years
awesome.
ago. I can come back on and we can do that.
Yeah, I don't fear it. But again, it's like, why do we celebrate Black History Month? If we celebrate Black History Month strictly to remember the bad thing, strictly to regurgitate the past, then we got it wrong. We should have it to be thankful that look at where we were and where we are, and let's move forward together.
The goal of Black History Month should say, look, we have this body of previously oppressed people that have contributed so wonderfully to world history and to American history. Let's celebrate.
Well, we use it at the albatross.
Right.
We use it at the albatross around
We use
our
it
neck.
to inflame.
To inflame,
Not to celebrate.
And every time you get to flaming, somebody's gonna get burnt. I mean, and then the whole thing starts all back over again. Just like Martin Luther King's birthday. I think we should have call it a civil rights birthday, and that includes everybody. That he was a leader of that movement, but he certainly didn't do it alone. And there are a lot, and George Washington didn't cross the Potomac by itself. But he wasn't military.
Will there be drinks? There will be cocktails. I wouldn't invite you.
See, you don't think I've been paying attention.
I know you've been paying attention. You come up and talk to me every Sunday morning about it. I know you're paying attention. I'm glad for it.
I do. I'm just trying to clarify my mind.
And you had some really good ideas, Kevin.
Yeah.
I think it was probably a small thing to you, but I still think to myself after that one conversation we had a month or two ago, how can I leave our people with a charge in their mind, with them understanding we have heard this, we believe this. Now how do we go out and do this?
There's a lot of us just come to church, sit in the bench, give the money to the church, and listen to the good preach, good sermon preacher. Do we take that out in some form and manifest itself in what we do?
Does it and it's like James said, right? Be doers of the word, not just hearers.
Yeah. The other day I did something that I wasn't going to do, but it hit me in the back of my mind. If Jesus was here. That's okay. You got it. Okay. Yeah. Because if you really believe, and it's hard for us to believe 100% without fail. It is. Would you give your light bill money to somebody who needed their lights paid, their lights on? Would you do that? Believing that by that thing you've just done,
don't miss Sean Hannity.
Yours gonna be paid too.
And here's live this
May the
afternoon
Lord have to have a long talk for that.
on News Radio 1440.
Our guest this morning is Pastor Sean Narrowthrough. Our numbers are 860-1440. I didn't give the number at all because I was just so intrigued by the conversation this morning. It wasn't my normal diatribe. The truth is really one of the few pastors I actually listen to. Most of them I just go to church to put in my check that off on the God list. Did he go to But I like being taught in a way that is easily understood. I don't really want to understand. I don't understand the Christian life.
background and denomination. We've been given a trust. That's what we do. Look out for people.
And I think you pretty much summed up what I was asking. All the writings have been written by people. I'm just not ready to believe that none of them, every last one of them, took every word and gave it to us the way it was given to them.
Well, and let me put it in kind of form. Every single writer that God used in Scripture, every single one needed salvation. Every writer that you see needed salvation. The question comes back to us: God straighten lines for the people? And the answer we believe is yes. Perfect God can draw straight lines for the people.
The question is, how do I know
if it's ultimately the writer, that is the one?
Well, in James, again, he gave us the Bible to do things we have to do without him to get them put together. Imagine there was some people in somebody to get together.
And again, we are talking about a difference between honesty and right and wrong development. Catholics believe the church is showing what in the council that happened in the 300s, in the 4th century. And yet we have the Bible long before that. And so the reality is, we as Protestants, again, what we teach historically, what we believe, it is the Spirit of God working through the people of God in the church that did not determine Scripture, what Scripture was on, but acknowledged that what God had given was Scripture and had the discernment to say, you know what, yeah, Matthew, Mark, Luke, and John, these and other New Testament books that we have, these were given by God. Writers inspired, gave us these works. And for instance, the Gnostic Gospel of Thomas, which wasn't included in the canon, because of internally it didn't agree with the rest of the witness of Scripture. They were able to judge and see, no, there's some really weird and freaky teaching in this that doesn't belong. And that is the Spirit of God working through his people in the church. And we had scriptures long before the Roman Catholic Church, or long before the council in the 4th century stated what the canon was and what the canon wasn't. And, you know, truth be known, the Old Testament canon was set long before the Roman Catholic Church ever even existed. We know from the Dead Sea Scrolls that what we have in the Old Testament is exactly what the Jewish nation had as their Old Testament 400 years before Christ.
Why do you believe that the Jewish people won't believe that Jesus was the Messiah? Is there any reality to there? I mean, is there any substance to that belief?
So there's divine theological reason, and then there's the human heart reason. So let me give you the divine theological reason. God said, again, through his instrument, the Apostle Paul, in Romans, if you look in Romans 9, 10, and 11, God says there that a hardening has happened to Israel right now to allow a time when the Gentiles are going to be grafted in. And so the divine reason is God means for his truth to go to the whole world. And as we saw during the life of Jesus, the Jews, they wanted to keep all of it for themselves. The Pharisees, the Sadducees, those who ruled Israel religiously during the time of Jesus, they hated the idea of Gentiles ever being included. And so God said, you know what? I mean for my truth to go to the whole world, so I'm going to harden Israel for a period of time so that my gospel goes to the whole world. That's Paul's argument in Romans 9, 10, and 11. So that's the theological reason. The man reason, if you talk to a Jewish rabbi scholar, they will say that their understanding, their interpretation of the Old Testament, Jesus doesn't fit all that they understand the Messiah to be. In other words, Judaism believes that with the coming of Messiah, there will be absolute justice and righteousness over the whole earth, societal justice, everything. And so the rabbis say, all you need to do is look out in the world. Is there injustice? Yes. Well, then the Messiah hasn't come yet. That's their view. And they saw the Messiah not just as a spiritual, religious salvation figure, salvation from sin figure, but also someone who literally would restore justice at the societal and human level instantly. And because that didn't happen with the coming of Christ, they believe he's not the Messiah.
I guess what got me on this subject this morning was that to find in Esther that even during that time there was a decree to destroy the Jewish people. I said, the Jews been catching hell a long time. I mean, why? And the only good part about that is at the end, the guy who went out to do that, well, he got his comeuppance, and and he left, and the Jewish people were left alone. And what's that woman's name? Vavisha, whatever her name is.
Vashti.
Was in such a place was in such a place to help her people.
Oh, Esther. You're speaking of Esther.
Yeah. To help her people, it had to be. It just things turned out the way for them the way they should have turned out, and that's only by the providence of God.
And just so your listeners understand, I've been preaching through the book of Esther. I started on Mother's Day. Esther is a unique book in the Bible in that it never mentions God at all. And yet, it's a book that's all about God's providence in protecting his people. And it's been, I've enjoyed the study of it as well.
It's one of the few. Anyway, so if you need a church, you want to go to a church where you don't bore you, don't sit down. Anyway, it is called Mona View Baptist on
Allen Road, 124 Road.
Get a website.
Yes, www.morningview.org.
Well, give us a prayer.
Again, Father, we thank you for this day. We thank you that we were ever able to wake and draw breath. Just the fact that we're alive is a common grace. Amen. Lord, we praise you that we have the opportunity to live in a nation where we can even come on the radio and discuss the Bible. We know there are many people in the world that don't have those freedoms. More than anything, Lord, I pray that we would follow you today, that we would follow Christ, that we would understand who he is, what he has done, that dying on the cross, rising from the grave to redeem us from our sin. May we trust in him, believe in him, know him as our Savior, and honor him in the way we live, helping him, loving him, sacrificing for one another, so that the world may see his. In your name we pray. Amen.
The podcast initially later on today, but that's all of them later on.
Thank you for inviting me on to do this, Kevin. I really enjoy this. Who would have known all those years ago, invite me on to debate Chris Miles and turn into this?
The microphone. The candidate who is not speaking launching his first presidential debate with a live audience since 1960. You can watch it tonight at 8 o'clock on WSFA 12. Punches thrown at a graduation event happened Wednesday at ASU Month. Alabama State University officials say an off-campus group rented out the arena. There was a fight, no reports of injuries. There's a blood shortage right now across the country that needs help. Life South Community Blood Center is calling this an emergency. It supplies every hospital in our state with blood. Donate look up your closest Life South location. One donation can save up to 3 lives. That's your news on this Thursday.
News Radio 1440 WLWI AM, the home of the Dan Bongino Show. Also on 95.1 HD3 FM, Montgomery, Alabama.
This is CBS News on the Hour, sponsored by Progressive Insurance.
I'm Vicki Barker. Boeing back in big trouble.
The NTSB says Boeing blatantly violated its rules by providing non-public information to the media about its 737 MAX door plug investigation.
and also speculating about the cause of a door plug blowout on a passenger jet in January. The agency will now deny Boeing access to its investigative information.
And CBS's Cammy McCormick reports it's referring the case to the Justice Department. Astronauts on the International Space Station were forced to take shelter overnight after a decommissioned Russian satellite broke into more than 100 pieces nearby. No injuries. NASA is continuing to monitor the situation. The Supreme Court's expected to reinstate a lower court ruling that allowed emergency abortions to be performed in Idaho, while that state's near total ban was being challenged. CBS's Jan Crawford has the
The Biden administration sued, arguing Idaho's ban conflicted with a federal law that requires hospitals receiving federal funds to stabilize patients, even if that means performing abortions. Idaho said its law already allowed that, but a lower court judge sided with the Biden administration.
Ahead of tonight's historic presidential debate in Atlanta.
Talking to sources right inside the top ranks of these campaigns, it's fascinating to me. They really do think this debate matters, that a lot of people have been at school, they've been dealing with their families and friends, maybe they're paying attention to Taylor Swift's Eras Tour, whatever they're doing, now they're tuning in.
CBS's Robert Costa in Atlanta. The CNN-hosted debate begins at 9 p.m. Eastern Time. In Israel, hostage families take their anger with their leaders to the street.
All over Israel, families of hostages blocked highways, causing huge traffic jams. They say that Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu has abandoned the hostages by refusing to accept a ceasefire deal in Gaza. Of the 116 hostages in Gaza, at least 43 have been declared dead.
CBS's Linda Gradstein reporting. Pandas, kids, love.
They're like cute. I like their spots. They're really cute, fluffy.
These kids at the San Diego Zoo looking forward to the arrival of two giant pandas named Yun Chuan and Sing Bao. They left China yesterday for the long journey to California. They're the first to enter the U.S. in 21 years. New jobless figures just out. Fewer people applied for unemployment benefits last week, but the total number of Americans collecting benefits hit a 2-year high. Jobless claims fell by 6,000 to 233,000, but the total number of unemployed hit 1.84 million. This is CBS News.
Sponsored by Progressive Insurance. Looking for a career path with flexibility, great pay, and benefits? Go to progressive.com/careers and apply online today.
Hi, I'm Cesar Milan. People are always commenting on how happy and healthy my dogs are. One of the reasons is the food my dogs eat.
Dr. Marty's Nature's Blend is a premium freeze-dried raw dog food designed to support your dog's health, happiness, and lifespan.
Their jaws are more flexible, their teeth are cleaner, and their coats shinier. And why they seem more youthful even as they age.
I'm veterinarian Dr. Marty Goldstein. I've helped countless dogs thrive with one simple concept. Your dog needs a high-meat diet similar to what their ancestors ate in the wild.
Dr. Marty created Nature's Blend using 50 years of nutritional research and experience, helping dogs make incredible turnarounds. Save up to 54% off Nature's Blend and get a free bag of Cod Krispies. They're wild-caught, ultra-crunchy cod skin treats. Go to drmartypets.com/good or text GOOD to 511-511.
Your order is backed with a 90-day guarantee.
All dogs are unique. Your dog results can and will vary. Message and data rates may apply.
Once again, the NBA draft #1 pick never actually played at an American college.
The Atlanta Hawks pick French 19-year-old forward Zachary Rizache in the first round of the NBA draft, as heard on ESPN on ABC.
That's a blessing, you know. So exciting. There's a lot of feelings and emotions right now.
This is the second straight year a player from France was the first player selected, and France landed 3 players in the top 6 Wednesday night, including #2 pick Alex Sarr, who joins the Washington Wizards, and #6 Charlotte Hornets pick 18-year-old Tijan Solon. Jennifer Kuiper, CBS News.
And finally, police in the Maldives have arrested a state environment minister, with media in the Indian Ocean nation reporting she was accused of performing black magic on the president. Police won't confirm or deny those reports. Sorcery is not a criminal offense in the Muslim-majority Maldives, but it does violate Sharia law. I'm Vicki Barker, CBS News.
Hey, y'all, Lewis at the Capitol Oyster Bar. We're over here on the beautiful Alabama River cooking up that fresh seafood for you. Easy to get to. Get on I-65, takes that North Boulevard, and takes the Louisville Street exit. That's the first exit. Hit the bottom of the rim, turn right 3 times. Follow that to the end of the road. We got an RV park, rent pontoon boats, and have a good time. Fresh seafood, good food. Come on down here, y'all. We'll be cooking for you. No show this Sunday, so come on and enjoy a good Sunday afternoon. Kicking back on the river.
Prescriptions require an online consultation with a healthcare provider who will determine if appropriate. Restrictions apply. See website for details and important safety information. Subscription required. Price varies based on product and subscription claim.
Hey guys, did you know there's a generic form of Viagra that works just the same but is 95% cheaper? And you can get it online at hims.com/radio. Through HIMS, you'll get a free medical consultation to determine the ED medication that's best for you. Discreet shipping if prescribed, a 100% online process, and a range of treatment options, including trusted generic alternatives to the name brands, at up to 95% off. ED is personal, and at HIMS, so is treating it. Just go to hims.com/radio and get connected to a licensed medical provider online for free, with zero copay, no expensive appointments, and no awkward face-to-face conversations. To start your free online visit, you need to go to this exclusive address, hims.com/radio. That's hims.com/radio for your free online visit. HIMS.com/RADIO.
Life South and our first responder agencies here in the River Region are joining forces again for the 4th annual Guns and Hoses Blood Drive. Show your support and join us on Thursday, June 27th from 10 to 5 at the Life South Donor Center on Carmichael Road. Each donor will receive a Life South t-shirt and a $20 e-gift card. You can also donate to the Tallahassee Police Department, Troy Police Department, and the Prattville Donor Center next to Belk. So come spend some time with us and donate as we help to save lives right here at home. See you on the 27th.
Wesley Financial Group is not an offer. An important message about your timeshare from Chuck McDowell, founder of Wesley Financial Group.
If you receive an unsolicited phone call or mail piece to discuss selling, renting, or especially canceling your timeshare, don't fall for it. Contact your timeshare resort or Wesley Financial Group for assistance, and I'll send you our timeshare exit information kit free with the straight facts about timeshare cancellation.
Call 800-511-1991. 800-511-1991.
Okay, I'm going to work.
Getting quality employees to fill positions in your company is essential. But finding those people can be a major hassle unless you use ZipRecruiter. ZipRecruiter makes finding quality people a breeze. ZipRecruiter's advanced technology identifies candidates with the right skills, sends you great matches, then you can easily invite them to apply. 4 out of 5 employers who post on ZipRecruiter get a quality candidate within the first day. See for yourself. Go to ZipRecruiter.com/free to try ZipRecruiter for free. That's ZipRecruiter.com/free.
Alexa smart speakers are great because you don't have to turn a dial or push a button to listen to News Radio 1440. Just say, Alexa, play News Radio 1440.
I love it.
Anyway, good morning. I hope this day finds everybody doing well. Anyway, good morning. It's a Tuesday morning. Now, this is one of the greatest things I've seen in a long time on Facebook. Oh, yes, finally. Something good on Facebook. The father goes to the field and knocks the living crap out of his boy, running that stupid puppy. I don't know who that guy is, but I'm going to see if I can get him to take to our thing tonight. And somebody tell me who it is, and I'm going to send him some tickets to bring his boy to come eat. I'm doing it. I'll find out who it is. You probably don't know what I'm talking about. I can't imagine. I got to do this first. Hey, just over 14. I love this one. Anyway, you know, we hope that they're going to do well. Anyway, so evidently, I guess they were having something at ASU and graduation or something, and it's probably going all across the nation. Now, somebody thinks probably going to put the guy in jail, but we're going to pay his bail if he goes to jail because More daddies need to do what he did. Knock the living crap out of his kid for being disrespectful and acting stupid in public. I'm all for him. I hope you learned something from that. And it's, I think it's really cool. These kids do this, and then they think they're the man of the house. You do that at the house just because you got a little more faith than dad. Because daddy got daddy power. And I'm just telling you, you know. But anyway, something happened at the age of I want to make sure I get this right. I think it was age there was a fight during the graduation. I didn't know they had graduation. So maybe it is. So if I wasn't English, then I don't want to say it was. But I believe it was. But anyway, the right one, and you go to and I love that. And more of that, if we did more of that, chastise our young teenagers, maybe it wouldn't end up dead on Friday night, Saturday night, end up in jail being Big Bubba's girlfriend. And some woman on Facebook said, see, this is why women should not raise boys. Now I understand the women, there are women who raise their young men and they raise their young men well. I'm talking about you. She said, well, I don't think he should have did it in public. Well, that's an amazing thing. And they put you in jail, they do it in public. When you're in the courtroom, they do it in public. Then when you get to jail, guess what? You got to sleep in public with a whole bunch of guys bigger than you. Yeah, do it in public. Yeah, do it in public. Yeah. I'm all good for that. Because I would have smacked him anyway. And I ain't gonna smack him out of 33 years old boy. You know, I can smack him back. I'm gonna tell his daddy power. I guess he's lifting the weights. I don't mess with him. Anything else gonna miss me? I mean, he's always been here in town with me. Always really got to always overseeing what it takes to do. Now he's 1,700 pounds. I think I was that bad. But anyway, he's up there in Colorado Springs, Colorado. Kind of made me sad at some level. But that's what we're supposed to do. We're supposed to grow them up, get them grown, get them go. Let them go on their own 2 feet. And that's the thing about I think we have today. We're trying to hold on to them. And then when you're no longer here or you no longer can do the things that you used to do, then they go out robbing, selling drugs, nothing. So we never made them do their own. So I'm proud of them. 1,700 pounds. Yeah, although we still got cash, I mean, still have to move, but I ain't there. No. I kind of miss him. Well, he was child. But anyway, we talked about going to the airport, so man, I'm gonna be up to you. But anyway, 860-4, I know what I do. I know which one we got to win. Yeah. And then I'm gonna always do this when we ask for money. I'm gonna ask for money from both of them all the time, and then they'll get tired of me, and so they won't call me or anything like that. You know, so I'm just saying they won't call and ask me for money because I'm gonna always call and asking them for money. Can I borrow $100? I was about $10. Can you send me $5? Whatever the case may be. Every time they talk to me, I'm going to ask for money. Okay? This is what they've been doing a long time. Anyway, 860-434, I know we want to get started talking about this morning. I just wanted to thank whoever that father was. I hope it's Montgomery because we learned a valuable lesson yesterday. Your kids is never too old to get a smack down. And if they think they are, well, we just reminded them, no, you're not. If you got a daddy that's worth 2 cents, they remind you once in a while also. Day 14 is morning. Yesterday, before I got up here, we wanted to talk about something. Nobody wants the Salvation Army near them. Nobody wants the Salvation Army near them. But when the storms come through town, when the wind blows your house down, when the trees cover your yard, when the lights are all going off, and you don't have any food in your house, who are you going to go to? Yeah, the Salvation Army. I cannot believe that we live in a city that does the Salvation Army, people whose mission it is to help the downtrodden and the people who need a hand. We don't want them in our nation. Really? It's shameful that we live in a city. Now, they're trying to put them in District 6. And a lot of people on and that's a Rodney Mitchell. Just I love this Rodney Mitchell, but and I guess he's doing what you have to do as a representative. Let people know that this conversation is going on, but to see the negativity that goes with these people about the Salvation Army, and at some point in our lives, and I hope it's no time soon, at some point in our lives, it will come to that we all going to need a help from somebody. And the Salvation Army has been out there doing it for a long time. So why we're whining about the Salvation Army, I do not know. Okay? They've got to go in somebody's district. Okay, somebody. Okay, I said, come on, federal drive. I don't care. But I don't know. I find it insulting to them and to all. And we live in a city with 490 churches. We got a hard time, and we stand. Some of the people in the church too. Don't put them over here. I don't put the stuff. Oh, don't put them over here. Yeah. So I'm ashamed. I'm ashamed of my not my memory, but there. I'm ashamed of people in neighborhoods and stuff who don't want them, and all they do is help you. Morning, who's this? Morning. Well, yeah, I'm pretty sure that it won't be at Win Lakes. I'm pretty sure of that. Um, I don't know. Whose district is that? What's that? District 8 or District 9? Whatever. Well, all I know is that I'm ashamed of us who can't seem to let an organization that not only talks the talk but walks the walk. And we having a hard time. And all the districts, I mean, not just six, not just around Nick Mitchell's district, but all of them, even over here, a year or so ago, I let them on the show that we really don't want them near us. Now, I just don't understand that. That just, now, let me grab a let me grab a. I'm tired of the interim thing. Okay, if he's good enough to be interim, then let's make him the chief. Now, here's a part. Here's the part that kind of years ago. Uh, years ago, when Todd Strange gave us the what do you call that guy? The right. But I'm saying one of the things they are doing to the interim chief is giving him a supervisor. Okay, which is what Todd did to Kevin Murphy.
He worked in juvenile crime a lot of years at the police department. He was a major over the juvenile division. So he knows how to work with at-risk youth. He was over at ASU under a federal grant. I worked with him very closely over there. And ASU saw so much in him that they decided to hire him as head of their security over there. And now he is working with Maria as a senior analyst. The guy is smart, and he checked off all the boxes except for one.
Now, wait a minute now. No, you're not saying that the reason he has not been retained as chief is because of the melon in his teeth. Oh. Yeah. Yeah. Oh, Heather, I'm not one to think that beards and goatees ought to be on things. I just, yeah. It gives a sense of discipline when you walk around with a clean shaven face and you look like you really business. But that's not my fault. And really. But yeah, the supervisor. Right. Mm-hmm. Ooh. Interesting proposition. The same school. Let me concentrate on it. Yeah. Too awesome. I appreciate it. Let me see. Bernard, let's supposed to be here. Well, I answered the phone, so I'm here. So I'll see you now. All right. Anyway, we're gonna talk about money next hour. Anyway, 1440. Somebody said, someone said, how come? Okay. Mhm, mhm, mhm. Oh, tomorrow, Ed Nettles is going to be here. Every day in the last 2 days, there's been some discussion between Reading and Senator Barfoot. And, there was on another radio station the other day, and every day I didn't know they were there, but they don't know these things. My great analytical skills would have saw through the Bravo Sierra, and I'd have to get on because I didn't know they were there. So we'll check with them. But evidently, Ed Nettles was in an interesting conversation with those guys, and I'm going to come in so we can finish that conversation about what and I don't really about. Of course, it always has to do with the crime in our cities, police, our state police, people, police, and all that. Anyway. Um, I said the mayor made a counter move on Reed and Will Barfoot by making him interim chief. In the interim indefinitely. The public safety advisor has more authority over the interim chief. So he was the real head of the police department. The mayor made an excellent test move. So it's Reed Ingram and Will Barfoot move now. And what about the 3 or 4 districts before this one? You don't find it insulting? Yeah, I do. I find it insulting that we even have to have a conversation about an organization where we're going to let them lay claim to. I think the whole city should be insulted right now. We should put that- That's how in there now, too. And they probably wouldn't want to be out there anyway. And where are these living in But anyway, yeah, it's been so either way. It's been so they move they're having a hard time to do business. You know, it's insulting. I think the whole city ought to be insulted by this. Let's take a break. Day 25 in the morning. Somebody needs to man up and let the salvation army move in. Okay, because all they do is good work. Okay, I mean, they're not like a thug organization. Usually, they help poor folks. And quiet as it's kept, even if you got some money, you may need to help you one time in your life. You got
News Radio 1440. Turn up your radio. Here's the Sean Hannity Morning Minute.
What's worse? Is it that China, Russia, Iran, North Korea, that they would try to influence our elections? What's bad? And we cannot allow them to have the capacity and the capability of doing that. And if we allow that, that's on us, not on them. We should know that they're capable and they're going to try to do things like that. Or, of course, the 51 intelligence officials, former and apparently current, which I'll get to in a second, coordinating with the Biden campaign to discredit allegations about the Hunter Biden laptop, which turned out to be very real, of which none of them knew anything about that laptop. There was no examination of any of them of that laptop.
Check out the Sean Hannity radio show later today. Right here.
And former maker who about taking the tank and Blogs.com has recovered with their 4th of July early access to new customers on premium, customizable window treatments. Blogs.com, I love them. They invented the better way to shop for energy saving blinds and shutters and motorized platforms, which are not new. And Blogs.com always has two professional design experts who help with the management and uploading the window treatment will have a major impact on your home's floor. It's simple, easy, and affordable. Also, you get unlimited window treatments installed for one cost. And as always, you can rescue your Blogs.com. They have their 100% satisfaction guarantee. Now, Blogs.com with a huge 50 July early access sale right now. Here's the latest summer savings up to 50% off site wide. But up to 50% off at only for a limited time. Here's only 50%. Yeah, really, you can see the tone, like it better. Like you're being happy with how you're taking care of your health care. If you're self-employed or part of the gig economy, or you just want a plan you're happy with, you can call right now and get a price in 2 minutes. Here's the number. Just call 855-51-BIBLE. 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 What's new in the world of industry? I'm Ben here with Just Blondes and Private with the answer.
motorization, and more motorization options than ever before. Any window treatment we offer at Gift Blinds can easily be motorized and customized for new preferences, including shade, blinds, and yes, even shade. Our eBay program for your smartphone and feature any brand of to learn more about motorization options, visit us at Gift Blinds and order online at giftblinds.com. Come fix my home. Come fix my home.
Wait, with our wood-grilled salmon, you won't forget the night at Logan.
I want to learn how to cook, but I keep ordering things.
Tom.
Always missing years. No worries.
Come on. Our monitor. I'll be all right. Again. All right, kids. We'll come to you in there. Good morning. Thank you, Robert. Hi. Hi. Mhm. Mhm. Well, we can probably, right, but we can address that with the city council and them. I mean, that's a modification of the rules that I think if they want to move there, well, I think you just have to have that conversation. Everybody can deny it. Yeah. But there's got, right, but there's got to be some, but even in the there's got to be something there. They can lay their head. I mean, they can. Yeah. Well, is it possible that maybe with all the help of the citizenry, we can change that? Okay. So if you and I were one who have to be one of those people who had to kill themselves, right? For whatever reason, life took a turn on us. Is it okay to misuse us now that we're down on love? Yeah, yeah. Well, you just, and I tell you what, you better hope a storm comes through. Because all it takes is one tornado, and your neighborhood is gone. Yeah, yeah. So all right. Appreciate it. Again, I just, you know, it's shame. Oh, getting back to the now, a lot of hell agrees when Trump brought everybody said, well, you know, how do you believe our Lord? Yeah. What? No real. Anyway, that's it. Although I would say a lot of these police jobs, like Birmingham Department, whatever you call it, a lot of people are out there. And in summer right now, Perkins is having a hard time getting rid of his police chief. So I don't think it's about just policing. I think maybe it's that the fiscal problem here. And in summer, evidently it was up to the council to file the police chief, or not to me. But I don't know what's going on over there. But it seems like they're having a hard time policing in our cities and towns these days. I think the mayor personally of the suburbs is mad because there's so much crime over there. But don't come to my government. You won't get no sleep. 824-1440, 841 in the morning. Come on, it's just, I get it. All right, then. Well, you can always tell me too late. All right, I went a little long the first week. You know, really what I did. You know, so, with that. Do with that. Hello, yo. Mama, did you see what the army done to me? Mama, did you see what the army done to me? Take away my beauty, dress me up in already. Take away my beauty, dress me up in already. Mama, did you see what the Father's done for me? Take away my beauty, take away my beauty, dress me up in already. Yes, right, yes, right. That's right, that I said. Whoa, 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 whoa. He's shaking at your life. Okay. I just got this Jimmy. Movie. Got a movie about Bob Marley. All right, 860-1440 is our number here. You got 29 this morning. It's more than me. Okay, what we're celebrating today? Color TV Day. Okay, color TV Day. Color TV. Although I didn't have a color TV when I was growing up, it was black and white. Whatever. Gin Day, G-I-N Day. I guess that means something great. Day. Also, Global Beatles Day. I don't know what that means. I don't know the Beatles song. Go, I don't know what to do, but if they do, today is their day. National Cat Counts Day. That's before somebody's here. How about National Catfish Day? You know, I don't really eat catfish because they tell me catfish is like the roaches of fish. You eat everything at the bottom of at the bottom of the bottom of the sea. I guess. We all know what. Yeah, I don't think I'm eating a catfish. No. National Leon Day. So if your name is Leon, hey, happy Leon Day to you. Let's see now. I don't see that else. Here's one. National Police Community Cooperation Day. We can do that every day. National Strawberry Parfait Day, and those are the things we celebrate in some parts of America today. But that National Police Community Cooperative Day, yeah, we need to put a sign over the neighborhood about that. As a matter of fact, it's the saying is that snitches get stitches. Okay, that's what the saying is. Nothing I can do that. Okay. All right then, and I sure hope that the pilot will take it out of his hair. And they said he has some drugs in his system, wins his reprieve. Okay, because when I found out that oxycontin is actually produced by the human body, wow. All right then. What else I got on my list right here today? A lot of things. Looks like we look like we're still in the killing around here still. I know the first part of the last week, the Atlanta Highway seems to be a spot that most city council people today don't want to put any more businesses on unless it is the businesses they want. It seems like people should go from city council and not get their business license sometimes because one city council person said, "Man, I don't think I like that." I just think that's kind of that's I don't know legal. All they can do is sue city council and they can do what I can do. I think cannot, yeah. And we're really now, and Julie, I love this in Julie. That's another. But what we can just real listen. I think that just because kids go by your store and you got a plant, we put pornography in the library in the school, and we worried about some kid going down the street seeing a marijuana leaf on the window. Really? Listen, if he can smell marijuana, I'm happy for him. Okay? At least you know what it is and what not to do. So I don't know. I don't know who gave city council the right to say how many of a certain type of business can be in a particular neighborhood because there's schools and churches. Well, first of all, if you got that many people getting drunk in the neighborhood, they need a church right there. I mean, they need to be next to the church. And maybe they can leave a liquor store and go to church and then learn how not to drink anymore. So I don't have a problem with that. I mean, we put abortion places in my church. Yeah. And abortion is the worst of all time. It takes the human heart, life of a child, in its formative moment. It kills it. So I don't, yeah, let me see. Husband, who do you want next door to you? A fortune credit or liquor store? Hey, listen, right in the liquor store, even though I don't drink, if I think about it, I want to be close to you so I can walk home. So I'm not really upset about liquor stores or anything like that. I mean, and school, in the hood, everybody's within 5 miles of the school. There's a school, we have more schools in this city than we need. So listen, come up with another. Come up with another one because that's not good. That's not good. Okay? Okay. Last week, we had Central Alabama residents indicted on federal sex trafficking case. Okay? According to the indictment, Manny Jones, 30 years old, Wayne Lambert, 48, and Alicia Scott, 27 of Montgomery, used force, fraud, and coercion to compel adult women to engage in what we would call commercial, commercial sex. Okay, that's what it says. I don't know the difference between commercial and private. I don't know. I guess it's for money. So anyway, and that's right. Of Montgomery, they used force, fraud, and coercion to compel adult women to engage in commercial sex acts between August 2016 and November 2020. Jones also used force, fraud, and coercion to compel two minors to engage in commercial sex. Okay, now that's going to be handled that. Okay, during that same period. So don't be doing that. It's not for commercial. Okay. What else I got going on here? Oh, also, a 15-year-old was charged with capital murder for the death of a 12-year-old young lady. That's a shame we just right there too. Yeah, we need more. We need more fathers to do that father did that's going viral right now on the internet by slapping his boy, and he always slapped him twice. But that's okay. Funny thing about dad. No matter how short he is, how tall they are, you know what? You got to be a wild kid to not pay attention to your dad necessarily. Okay, don't even think about hitting the back. No. Don't even think. I mean, you just added the worst trouble in. Don't even think about hitting your dad back in public. Hey, Brian, okay, we can have that conversation as I beat you down. But don't ever do that in public. I'm good with that guy. If anybody knows who he is, tell him to call me, and we're gonna give him and his boy some tickets to Spoons tomorrow at the RSA Center. Let him come in and sample some of that good food. Okay, so you already know who he is. Tell him to call me. What's my number? 241-9998. Good morning. Who's this? Yeah, absolutely. Okay, yeah, we finally agree on something. All right, yeah, we finally agree on something. Hello, Bernard, you supposed to be here. Oh, well, hang out there. I'm gonna get a doorbell right there. You ring the doorbell? Okay. No, don't be knocking on the door because ain't nobody out there in the hall. But anyway, I got about 3 minutes, so hang loose and I'll be out there with you. All right, yeah. Okay, what else is going on? Okay. Yeah. I think there are a lot of dads right now that are going to take some instruction from that guy, and because you know what? And women all on the internet. That's the problem. They're going to put you in jail in public. Okay? They're going to run. Now, one thing I did like was not who the last police chief had. One thing I did like what he did. He walked you out of the jailhouse and handcuffed and put you in the food gown in public. I'm good for that. Yeah, I don't see me doing it in public. I don't care. Matter of fact, if more fathers and mothers did what they did in public. Okay, now here's one thing I don't like. I don't like seeing a mama cuss a child out in public. I think that's crazy. That's why he don't understand what you're saying. He just knows you're being mean. But you know, I never understood why a mother would cuss her child, a little bitty kid. I ain't talking about a teenager. I'm talking a little bitty kid, call them all kind of names in public. I don't get that. You know, I mean, everyone want to grow up and respect you. And you got to show them a little respect. And I think what that father did yesterday was showing respect to the kid that he rather slapped him and had you put in jail. It's like being over a bench, okay? Or you get stabbed in a prison. That's where you headed. That's where you headed. If you have no decorum, if you have no respect for authority, no respect for your environment, then you are headed to jail. There's no other place you're going. You're going to jail or to the hospital. Okay, that's where you're headed. I just want to let you know. I think the father showed yesterday that he cared enough about his kids that he chastised them here. So he won't be chastised in private inside somebody's jail or prison. And once you get there, you will have anything to say about what happened. So we'll be back. We'll go straight up to people. Let me go. Okay, we're going to talk about money. We'll come back. Oh, that's right. I'm going. Yeah.
In big trouble with government regulators, CBS's Tammy McCormick reports. The NTSB says Boeing shared information about the 737 MAX door plug investigation with the media. It says that's a violation of regulations and an agreement signed by Boeing. It says Boeing also speculated about the cause of the door plug blowout in January, indicating employees' work may have been responsible. The NTSB says it's focused on the cause of the incident, not placing blame on any individual. Boeing can't face criminal charges in the matter. One court said he delay, but today is expected to be the busiest air traffic of the year so far. FAA Administrator Michael Whitaker told
Yes, ma'am.
Oh, what are you talking about?
In the draft opinion posted Wednesday.
President Biden and former President Trump will head to head for the first time in 4 years. Each carrying a microphone and a camera to speak, and they will be more.
What we're saying is in general, it's better to get your vitamins from whole food. American for 200 total years. It says benefit from certain supplements. Wall Street, that is this. This is
Why do we always work out of your doctor's needs? For this meeting, from the professional part of the three other brothers. No, you're a 50-year-old male. You look pregnant and you have to produce. Even if you have,
first. 100 populism and anti-Semitism. Deborah Rodriguez, CBS News. And finally, a new report finds the number of climate lawsuits filed against companies around the world is rising swiftly, and a majority of cases that have finished have been successful. In all, about 230 climate-aligned lawsuits have been filed against corporations and trade associations. I'm Vicki Barker, CBS News.
go about 30 minutes. We probably won't get them all. You don't want to give everybody the whole card. No. Okay. All righty, we are back. All right, special little program for about half hour or so. We're going to talk to Bernard Mathis, who is from Mathis Financial, and he also sells insurance and things of that nature. And one of the things that I wanted to ask you to give us the advantages and the disadvantages of whole life or term life. Now I had term life for like 18 years. And when it came to an end, I got paid about $20,000 into it. They said, we don't need you no more, but you, and they're honest with me. The term ended, and they said, when I came on insurance, they wanted $37,000 a month. Now, my thing, my thing is that why not did this never get elected? Well, technically they did. But they had to do it legally. Okay, so they make the rate so high that you just maximum say, hey, appreciate using this money for a while, and you know, if you would keep the same amount, I mean, hey, so from $150, I can understand 2 times a month. 50 times a month. Well, it really, it won't get rid of it. And they won't get rid of it. Because you know, it's so incredible. The whole thing about permanent is that you kind of have to get out of bed. And you find it for 20 years. And so you didn't come to 30 years, you did 20, you can all the debt. Because they I did. Well, that was, I mean, that is I've been doing it. One company I know that every term, I think it's nothing. I saw the tax the other day, and I think I saw it out. Don't put you in the ground. Live. Look at it, either way.
first study with female age 90. She got 43 years in the
I don't understand why women who have babies and stuff need to cheat the rape because having a baby is dangerous.
It is because the woman with longevity.
I do have to excuse for about years ago, it runs me $17 a month or something like that.
Yeah.
And I guess as long as you keep paying it,
well, what a lot of people don't realize is actually a two types of life. Meaning that there's one called meaning that none. And a lot of persons have non-life. Which means that you again, you can, let's say, if you just everything out of plan, and you started with that $10,000 cost. It's a $10,000 cost. If you 90 minutes, right? Because of non-cost. Then you go back to count 17, let's say $20, 40 bucks a year. In the next 4 years, it's 3 times the premium that we're going to do.
So insurance companies, something just they don't do this because they've been benevolent.
No, it's good.
It's good.
And like I said, we sell non-alcoholic, and then we sell. And what a alcoholic does, which means that every year the company has a dividend to a shareholder. You are now a shareholder. When you're a shareholder, the dividends are paid, you can buy $200,000 if you $100,000. Your shares, and you can have your shares take that dividend and put it into and your son, he passed away and didn't get to the future. Now that $10,000 based on your.
Now I heard something the other day when this company said, we will give you all your money back that you paid in at a certain point. Now, I thought this was to make a money.
They made money. They do it. Yes, they make you feel good. You don't mean all my money back at the end of the term. But I invested the money. And then also, now, you have to so you're giving your money back, and then as you raise your rate, because you're so glad you didn't die. For the next one, you just, oh yeah, I think I'll be able to do it. In 3 years, you don't know who's going to go through it. But this is pretty cool if you make it. They will give you a help. Giving them the money back.
I know it's something that's defined and not for the most part, but Freemasons, I think they were hurt. So why don't we just push Freemasons?
Well, because we've gone through the normal Christian position. I mean, burial. When we think about,
you normally get that for punishment.
Well, that's
back in the day.
Yeah.
got the other. Set you on fire, set you out in the ocean. Yeah.
Only thing now is you're going to do a fly.
Can't you do it?
You can, sure. You take it to the house.
That's how she hurt. You get back up.
You can't do it.
You agree. So they trying to make money off of it, but there is no money.
Not a
disability insurance. When you get disability insurance, you're not going to get your salary on it. I think $800 a week.
Because otherwise,
oh, anything you can investment.
Back. Never. Well, give you. But at least, a lot of things, you have to distinguish disability. You're out. You're out. Or you have to be out. Many years ago, I bought this because I was with you. And I pain. And so I bought this business that was
Okay, 860-1440, our guest Bernard Mathis. He is from Bernard Mathis, Financial Services. And
my number is 334.
And you were born in Washington, D.C.?
Yeah, I was born in D.C. But actually, I was born in D.C. We were so proud. We lived in
Sure.
I lived in D.C.
Okay. Washington, yeah.
I'm not
I know what that means. Charitable giving. You can, if you don't have any relatives that you know of, you get the church house, but
need a will. You want everybody to want it's charity. Whatever foundation humane society. I mean, anything that you need.
Let's say even in the time he lived in, that Joe down the road kind of like a crook. I get the insurance on that.
You have to have that. You used to on anybody.
Okay.
You know, you have to have some. I'm not a lawyer. Anything like you or whatever, you can find a person that have confidence in. I have a person that works with me that does real good price for my client.
So if I know let's say I know if my brother is living a dangerous life, you know, I might want to get some insurance so I ain't got to be paid for the burial.
Well, because you're a kid. Yeah. Yeah. Right. Then
so he got a shot.
Yeah. He has to agree. whatever we come to humanity, what like Lisa to say, okay, well, what I do, and form do whatever. Would you say that the dream issue of the people you leave it's an act of love, and also well, it's a love. So we just got I could use some of the. Let's say we have cousin, whoever, and they're about to nice like then what you could do is you could actually go into your life insurance, put money out of it and give it to that person present because you don't have any money. Yes, yeah. I would have all my kids go out. Yeah, you'll get next day. You think about the company you last working with, that's all those great things and we'll be back.
Something different.
Ma'am, did you not see us?
Well, the worst six-level word in the world is cancer.
Yeah. You are an invisible upline.
Sister died of breast cancer. Broke my heart.
Yeah, that's one of those deals where you people go, women in particular, get tested that one little something out there generated itself or my sister.
You know, the tough thing about that is that remember the birth frame? And I don't know if it's got anything to do with smoking cigarettes or not. Many people die and think that don't smoke at all.
Don't smoke at all. That's why it's so crazy. Because this person not doing those things, have it, and then this person who's having a good time out in the street. Patient is, if you do right, you will do it. And, you know, yeah. Yeah, all of them. Yeah. Yeah. I think one of the reasons why people like yellow, it reminds us of our most. Sometimes then
it matters.
well, it doesn't, but here's a person picks up $50,000 in 90 days.
You should have 90 days.
Yes. Then we go back to the same circle. And it's, it's $10,000 a year. What you have to pay. What you can, what you have to pay. Instead of having, you can only do something monthly.
Yeah.
You set that up. And a person coming in there, you mad. I mean, the day he went with, you told me they couldn't. That's what. We have to. We don't know. I think we're not doing for
You wait. Somebody else goes.
I'll probably take from the mold deal too. That's you know, and then that's when I get part of it.
Okay, I know the 864-1440 got any questions, but you probably want to radio. So give me the number to the law. As I was looking around for new insurance, everybody pretty much price was the same depending on your opinions and condition. So there's really no discount insurance things out there. Is the insurance for veterans?
Well, issue veterans. No, it's you for your car. Yeah, if you're a veteran, you're a veteran. If you you're a veteran,
right?
Having the military, then actually being it actually that if you have a let's say you had a illness,
disability,
disability will come. If you have some kind of illness, then life insurance people kind of look at you kind of strangely. And so if a person has their VGLI insurance, they need to keep it. They need to keep it. But determine all of them, if you then you can they convert it to what? You can convert it to and what means you can make money on it. Yeah, make money on it. That's the three things. Yeah.
Now, you do financial law and how do you do?
Well, I can do it. More, I can see it. Like, real work. Yeah. Just very, very.
Let me take one call for you. There. Come on in there. I appreciate your telling me the whole That's Mr. Bernard. And then again, it's 334. No, and just for the period in this, uh, so it is the one section, because when you do, you don't do so. We saw that. When you get while you're alive, you need a little bit of pain. I make sure that my boy, I come, we can continue. At least when you get a meal that day, you know, everywhere another, you're gonna get a good meal that day. And the only way you can do that, you gotta leave with your money. If I think average time to pay for insurance, you start, I get it. Take a long get that thing.
Sometimes it does, depending on what state you are. And yeah, so it could be maybe that you feel like you're taking that, send it back to the company, and look through do it.
Anything, we just want to check good.
By the way, that's one thing about the insurance industry. Many, I'll say the company agents, so and so, and they, yeah, we're going to do now, sometimes the old name, who's responsible. Yeah, the truth somebody bigger more than insurance company comes with.
We appreciate you coming by, Bernard. We'll have you back again. Bernard, that's the your number again. We'll be back.
relatively full right now, there were 150 kids. Texas Minutes and full high school to 26. Those are not the ones that I'm talking about. It's the ones you break up.
Insurance mean they cost you about $200 and 3220. The term life policy providers help thousands who think they can't afford. All you need to do is 800 82220. They will blues like you.
Together, we will marketed.
Resource from the nonprofit national.
All righty then. Well, it looks like FOP, what's that? They are crazy decision naming this gray boys, as my money empty police chief. I guess you can have an interim police chief forever. So are you really the police chief? I don't know. Maybe I get a chance to talk to his policing philosophy is. And if he tells me we want to use 21st century policing methods, I'll be ready. I won't be talking to him. Okay? Because crooks are using the first century crooking things that they crook is still a crook, no matter what year it is. Stealing is still stealing, killing is still killing, robbing is still robbing, regardless of what century it is. It's the same old thing. So I don't know. And we need to get back to some of that old time, old-time policing back in the day. Except we don't want to beat down people in country. Every once in a while, we need to beat them. I'm not saying it. I'm just saying that, but we do need to use some of the old tactics to keep people out straight. Okay. Here's one. And listen, I'm not making any assertions in this at all. I don't want you guys to think about it. And I'm telling you, it has nothing to do with, gender or anything like that for the most part. However, kids are already catching the news that there's a few gay guys. And never get gay guys. I get the point with gay guys. But they were allowed to adopt a child. Okay? Now, I would agree that even heterosexual couples can do the same thing. Okay? It's not the same thing. In that sense, but two men who really don't know how to raise kids because they can't comment, left their child. Alabama's, he is right. It's still right. A newborn girl, is dead after being abandoned in the back of a hot vehicle for several hours. Diana Sophie Dolores Santos, who had just been adopted 2 months ago, who had left the child unresponsive and SUV, okay, at the parents' home. That's at the house. You know, she was born in Arizona in April and had been matched to Romer and Jensen D. Los Santos, a gay couple from San Diego County, California. Now, she's been already got one to up with. Okay? How do you leave your child in front of your house till they die? How you gonna do that? How you gonna do that? Nothing against gay men, but I don't think any school should be giving to gay people. Okay? I just don't think you ought to. It's not a natural occurrence that two men raise or two women raise a baby. It's just not a natural occurrence. I love you still. But now foster homing, I'm good with foster homing. But a baby, oh no way. No way in the hell. But these social experiments that we keep going through, it's getting people killed, getting people hurt, just all kinds of things. Okay, like that social experiment over there in Birmingham with 2 women police chiefs. Well, they gone now, and they said the morale in that department has never been this low in 7 years. I think morale in the police department is kind of low too. I think, but from what I can report that out too. Good morning. Right? Well, I haven't made that appointment yet, so we. Uh, yeah, well, what can I say? But I appreciate the offer, but there's some offers that I can do with that. Yeah, I can. Okay, well, I can truly tell you, I don't know what you make the record. And one more thing, I don't know where Mr. Actually, he's been calling me too. Even though he gets on my nerves sometimes, I knew that if you ever stop calling, I was gonna feel somewhere about it, and he hadn't been calling me long. I just want to make sure he's okay. I think he's okay when we have him call. Must be something wrong. So anybody can find out. I still looking for Miss Elizabeth. I'm over there on the mountain of the woods and trying to see if she's on camera, you know. There's some folks that used to call this show forever, and I don't know where they all are now because we're all getting older and things happen to everybody. But anyway, um, everybody knows where it is, and if Mr. Ed is out there, you know, give us a call. Let us know you're at least all right. With this happening, okay? 860-1440 is the number here. You're going to get started. I had a lot of things I want to talk about. Um, in case you have missed it, of course, the Alabama Supreme Court recently clarified the landlord liability for open and obvious condition. That's an interesting case right now. I'll give that time. I'll go through that. Good morning. Yeah. Right. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Which is what we said. Which is what we said. You know, that's okay. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yeah. There's no way we are ready to go all electric. We're just getting in the White House now because now we're not going to have gas stoves. I mean, it's just, right. We are going to be like them soon. And of course, no. And you've heard that. What was he doing the other day? Oh, he finally signed an executive order to stop people from coming into the United States illegally. Do they really think we that fool? He thinks we're idiots. Oh, well, we in trouble. We're gone. And if he wins at 9 o'clock, at 9:02, we're going to do away with it. Yeah. When are Americans going to get? When is it going to happen? Yes, it is. Yes, it is. Yeah. all they leave back is trash. And that's where it goes to some. Mhm. Oh well, no, 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 not even a little bit. Appreciate it. Let me take this call. Good morning on there. What? But not just Tesla, air conditions, all the electrical things that we use. And now you want to put cars, and you want to take a nation all the way electricity, we'll be walking and using bikes. Okay. Well, I'll put it this way. I'm gonna put it this way. If engineers cannot come up with a way to show their work, that's their problem. They're engineers. Their, their job is solving problems. Are you telling me they can't solve this one? Okay. I hear you. The engineer's job is to create solutions to problems. If you have a problem, if you have a problem with not being heard, then fix the problem. We just let's fix that. You're an engineer. All right. I appreciate it. I'm running out of time. Good morning, who's this? Good morning, who's this? Yeah. Well, Trump don't take scrutiny and he don't do it Alabama. They got the American Rescue Plan, the American Rescue Plan and all that stuff. It's our money. Wait a minute. It ain't hard to spend somebody else's money. We, we want independence and the ability to run our lives. Yeah, I do. Mhm. Trump don't know where Where's Ferry Road is. Yeah. Wait a minute, that was up to wait a minute. That was up to whoever the mayor of the city was. Yeah, well, I, well, you want to ask him about that. Appreciate it. I'm running out of time. Good morning on air. Yes, we'll see. Not the advancement of technology, but we are not ready. The grid cannot handle all these electric cars, air conditioning, all the electrical things that are going on. It can't handle it right now. Okay. Okay. I hope you're right. I hope you're right. But one thing you cannot deny, for all the technical advances that we have, technological advances we have, a little water, we put it all down. A little water. Put the water on it, storm comes, it's done. Okay. All right. I hope you're right. Good morning. Yes. Okay. All right. I got to do one more call. Then I got to go. Good morning. Yes. Yeah, I remember watching it. Yeah. No, I didn't. Yeah, that what they said. But that was an opinion. Electrical production is a science. I don't know what is it. Hey, my time's up. We gotta go. We got tomorrow. Hopefully, good luck to you soon. Y'all have a good day, and we'll be good.